Hello friends! You're on the Last Days channel. Thank you so much for your engagement and support. And so, a review of events for July 30th. Iowa, USA. A powerful storm has hit the U.S. state of Iowa. The storm was accompanied by thunderstorms, heavy rain and strong winds with gusts reaching 144 kilometers per hour. Locals wrote in social networks that at least 2 tornadoes were spotted in different parts of Iowa during the passage of the storm system. Fortunately, the destructive winds that raged in the sparsely populated area did not cause significant damage. A few dozen trees were downed by the storm and blocked roads. No one was injured as a result of the storm.
Hey, it's in that field over, you see it?
Paris, France. In Paris, the streets turned into rivers in a day due to bad weather. The French capital received 48 millimeters of rainfall, the maximum daily rainfall since June 11, 2018. At the height of summer, many were surprised by the sudden rainfall. Impressive pictures of flooded streets circulated on social media. The staircases of Montmartre were flooded with water. The rain did not bypass in public transportation. At the station Saint-Lazare, the water went through the walls until it reached the platforms. A strong thunderstorm seriously disrupted traffic at Montparnasse station. Delays sometimes exceeded 5 hours. According to the French Weather Service, this downpour is one of the strongest recorded in Paris for the last 40 years. Thailand. There was a massive explosion at a pyrotechnics warehouse in Thailand's Narathiwat province, causing damage in a radius of about 500 meters. More than 200 houses were destroyed, many with torn roofs, battered walls, and broken windows and doors. The blast killed at least 10 people and injured about 100 others. Local officials believe there may still be people under the rubble of the building. A medical and humanitarian aid center has been deployed for the victims. According to preliminary data, the explosion was triggered by construction work carried out at the warehouse. Sparks from welding metal caused fireworks stored inside to catch fire and explode. The provincial governor said that this version is probable. There was also significant damage to a shopping center, a market, and 150 houses. Some of them are completely destroyed. Rescue services continue to work at the scene. Canada. A strong storm with hail has hit the capital of Canada, Ottawa. Several neighborhoods were left without electricity. More than 10,000 people were without light. The heavy downpour brought hail the size of a hen's egg and strong winds. Environment Canada issued a storm warning for Ottawa and Quebec City, reporting wind gusts of up to 90 kilometers per hour and heavy rain. One resident posted a photo on social media of a golf ball next to a similarly sized piece of hail. Residents reported that the hail was so strong that it crumpled cars. Thousands of people were still without power in Ottawa and Gatineau. A tree crushed a vehicle on Bromley Road in Ottawa. Kazan. In Kazan, there was a bad weather that led to serious consequences. Strong wind tore off roofs, felled several trees and carried away garbage cans. Emergency Situations Ministry received 38 reports of falling trees in 10 districts of the city. In addition, there was an emergency power outage. 220 people and 36 units of equipment arrived on the scene and began to eliminate the consequences of bad weather. Citizens share in social networks video of the raging elements. One of the stops lost its roof and felled several trees. In one of the residential complexes, the wind took away the awning from the garbage site, and from several houses blew off fragments of roofs. In this regard, it is recommended to beware of advertising bills, unfastened structures of public transportation stops, and unfinished buildings. Florida. In Kazan, there was a bad weather that led to serious consequences. Strong winds tore off roofs, felled several trees, and carried away garbage cans. Emergency Situations Ministry received 38 reports of falling trees in 10 districts of the city. In addition, there was an emergency power outage. 220 people and 36 units of equipment arrived on the scene and began to eliminate the consequences of bad weather. Citizens share in social networks video of the raging elements. One of the stops lost its roof and felled several trees. In one of the residential complexes, the wind took away the awning from the garbage site, and from several houses blew off fragments of roofs. In this regard, it is recommended to beware of advertising bills, unfastened structures of public transportation stops, and unfinished buildings. Washington. In Washington, there was a terrible disaster. Strong wind with a speed of up to 140 km/h, accompanied by rain and thunderstorms, took the lives of dozens of trees and left without light about 200,000 residents of the region. Fallen trees damaged cars and blocked roads, which led to large traffic jams. Weather forecasters believe that the cause of the elements was the intense heat, which stood in the city for several days. This week, thermometers in the city rose to 37 degrees Celsius. Local authorities urge residents to be cautious and not to go out on the streets unnecessarily. Ulyanovsk region. A forest fire broke out near a village in Kuzovatovsky district of Ulyanovsk region in the evening of July 29. Local residents report 3 burned houses, referring to the words of the forest guard that the fire cannot be extinguished without aviation. Also on social networks, locals say that the column of smoke can be seen from the nearest settlements. Fire departments and volunteers are involved in extinguishing the fire. The official comment of the Ministry of Emergency Situations of the Russian Federation has not yet been received. Landscape fire on agricultural land threatens the forest fund. Measures are being taken to fight the fire. South Korea. In South Korea, the number of people suffering heat stroke has risen sharply over the past 2 days after an abnormal heat wave hit the country following the end of the rainy season. According to the Korean Agency for Disease Control and Prevention, heat stroke was diagnosed in 160 people across the country on Saturday when a heat warning was issued for most of the area. The daily figures were up sharply from the 4 cases reported earlier. Since the nationwide heat stroke watch began on May 20th, 868 patients had been reported as of Saturday. Authorities have advised people to take precautions against heat stroke, such as staying indoors whenever possible and wearing loose, light-colored clothing and wide-brimmed hats if they have to go outside. Kuban. Several tornadoes passed over the Black Sea 3 kilometers from the shore in the Tuapse district of Kuban. Dangerous phenomenon moved in the northeastern direction and collapsed over the sea due to heavy rain, thunderstorms and squally winds in the Krasnodar region. Several tornadoes passed over the Black Sea 3 kilometers from the shore in the Tuapse district of Kuban. Dangerous phenomenon moved in the northeastern earlier a storm warning was announced. It is also reported that in Cherkassk calculated the damage after the recent hurricane. The wind fell almost 100 trees and damaged dozens of cars. One person died and 6 others were injured.
Смотри, как быстро. Сюда прям побежать. Во-во-во, прям к берегу подходит.
Nizhny Novgorod. A terrible emergency occurred in the city of Nizhny Novgorod. A thunderstorm accompanied by heavy downpours, hail, and wind hit the city. Hundreds of trees were fallen, dozens of cars were crumpled, concrete pillars and traffic lights were torn out. As a result of the 10-minute rampage, bus traffic was hampered on Vanyev, Rodionov, and Zvezdinka streets. The head of the city reported about 40 fallen trees. At present, utility services, road workers, and rescuers are involved in the elimination of the consequences of the storm. Today, according to various sources, more than 20 millimeters of precipitation may fall today, which is stronger than the downpours in early July. The city is using all available resources to cope with the consequences of the disaster, but it will be possible to fully solve the water problem only after the rains stop. Spain. Over the past 2 days in Spain due to extreme heat, 50 people have died, it was announced by the Charles III University of Madrid. In some regions of the country operates red, the highest risk level due to heat. Thermometers in the shade show 44 degrees Celsius. The heat will continue into August, experts believe. The main victims of the ongoing heat wave in Spain are the elderly. Despite the weather conditions, tourists from all over the world continue to arrive in Spain. Local eco-activists are dissatisfied with the situation and say that the authorities should maintain strict restrictions for tourist cruise ships. Only on Sunday, 15 liners docked at the cruise port of Barcelona, which pollute the air and water. The state must limit their numbers while authorities take other measures to combat the heat wave. Republic of Mari El. In the evening of July 29, a tragedy occurred in Volsky and Zvenegovsky districts of the Republic of Mari El. The storm, which swept across the beaches near Lakes Ter and Yelchik, claimed the lives of 7 people, including 3 children. Another 17 people were injured when strong winds fell a lot of trees on the tents. This was the cause of the tragedy. The injured and relatives of the victims are receiving the necessary assistance at the scene. The rescue service is working and continues to clear the affected areas from trees. Several tents are still blocked by trees. Specialists will continue their work in the near future. Our planet. Temperatures this summer are breaking all records. This summer, heat has been a real problem for almost half of the globe. Temperature readings have reached unbelievable values. In some regions, the thermometer columns even exceeded the mark of 50 degrees. Such weather is becoming unbearable for people, and many countries are already looking for ways to adapt. China, for example, has decided to use the bomb shelters they have inherited from the Cold War. Many of the bunkers have places to rest and offer water and medicine. In Germany, residents of Munich can use a special mobile application with a map of the city. Through it, you can choose a shadow path from one point to another and find parks where you can sit in the cool. In Spain, the authorities of Barcelona have created a network of so-called climate shelters, which includes libraries, museums, schools, and sports centers. This summer, their number has increased to 227. The heatwave situation has become so serious that experts are already saying that it could become the new normal for our planet. Therefore, it is important not only to find ways to adapt to such conditions, but also to take measures to combat climate change in general.